Not all women have love in their hearts and an instinct to care.
It'll be dark before we get there.
An Oregon mom dishes up cruelty.
I can't see another human doing that to another human.
Get your arms up now!
A good Samaritan comes with a price.
She was a person of power.
How is she?
Time will tell.
The power of life and death.
Who is she?
And jealousy triggers two teens.
She's not for me.
Two lit fuses waiting to get off.
Wouldn't want to be her.
They were a fight looking to happen.
These deadly women have ice in their veins and malicious hearts. In Eugene, Oregon, 2008.
Here's your 2 pieces.
The McNulty family is not your typical apple pie household. 41-year-old Angela is raising 3 children to 3 different fathers, and she has another 2 children in foster care.
Good to have you home.
It was a long drive.
Her latest husband, long-haul trucker Richard, is often away, but provides what Angela wants: money, without questions.
She definitely was in charge. She could do anything and get away with it because she ran the show basically with them.
Richard was the perfect husband for Angela because he wasn't very smart. He was not used to making decisions.
Angela seems affectionate to her youngest children, but not her eldest daughter, 14-year-old Janette. For years, Mom subjects Janette to unspeakable abuse.
Started when they woke up in the morning, and if she was good, at 8 at night, she could sit down.
She treats Janette like a prisoner of war in her own home.
Janette was not allowed to eat with the family, not at the family table. She was given tiny bits of food to survive.
The faucets were locked up and the knobs were taken off the faucets, so she couldn't get water.
She would drink out of the dog's bowl or even out of the toilet. Her mother let her have nothing.
There's locks on every door, and only Angela had keys.
Her need to control her daughter in this bizarre, cruel, disgusting manner just got worse and worse.
No one, not even the victim, speaks out.
Her mother probably had her convinced, if you tell anyone, I will know, and things will be even worse for you.
By spring 2008, Janette can no longer hide the telltale scars.
What happened? Nothing. I fell.
Kids in gym class had noticed there were bruises on her body, and she explained them away. She said she had fallen, that there was some accident or something that had happened.
Really?
People at school had seen Janette come to school nearly every day in the same sweatpants. She looked a mess, and they contacted the authorities.
We've had a complaint about Janette.
What's she done?
Nothing.
Concerned school authorities contact Child Protective Services.
They're...
They drop in on the family.
Check on this family. See what's going on in that house. Something is wrong with that little girl, and we're worried about her.
We need to organize a meeting.
Sure, of course.
Finally, Janette has a chance to escape.
Well, I need to speak with her.
She's not home.
But Janette won't get to tell her story. Questioning the abusive mom backfires.
Janette, it's time to go home now.
Can I stay a bit longer?
I have to look up.
Janette loved being in school because she was away from Mom. No one beat her there.
Is everything okay at home?
Janette is about to lose her one safe haven. 2008, Eugene, Oregon. Angela McNulty has been torturing her 14-year-old daughter for years.
Get your arms up now!
Janette is starved and beaten.
We need to organize a meeting.
Sure, of course.
But when Child Protective Services challenges her abusive mom,
Janette, you need to go home now.
things only get worse.
Janette! You won't be going back to school.
Angela switches her daughter to homeschooling.
Homeschooling is a godsend for abusive parents. They can get away with their crime longer.
With no more prying eyes, Angela's abuse escalates for the next 18 months. Angela calls 911,
Oh, my baby.
claiming her daughter has had an accident.
How old is she now?
15.
But Janette's emaciated frame tells another tale.
Sorry, how old did you say she was? 15. She got a bit thin.
She weighed only 50 pounds. She was a tiny little thing. In fact, investigators could not believe that she was a 15-year-old because she was so small.
Her cause of death is recorded as bleeding on the brain, septic shock, dehydration, and starvation. Angela turns on her husband.
She started blaming Richard McAnulty for everything. And so we confronted him with that information, and he started talking.
Richard's testimony destroys Angela's lies, but also proves he's a silent accomplice.
There's no way he didn't know. He saw it. He knew what was going on. But he still never did anything. He didn't call, nothing.
Angela McNulty pleads guilty to aggravated murder. In February 2011, she receives the same sentence she gave her daughter: death.
I couldn't see another human doing that to another human. I definitely couldn't see a mother doing that to her daughter.
The question on everyone's lips: why? Why would a mother inflict so much misery on her own child? Investigators find a troubled beginning.
Angela did not start life the easy way. She had a mother who had 5 kids by the time she was in her early 20s.
Mom's going out. You have fun with your brothers.
Angela is the apple of her mom's eye. Until the day Mom doesn't come home.
Her mom was murdered when she was a young girl, and it was never solved.
This would be an indelible scar that she would carry the rest of her life.
Her father may have left scars too.
Get rid of you little thieves.
She claims he used food as a weapon.
They were not allowed to get any food out of the kitchen whatsoever. They could have water, but that was it.
Never steal my food.
The kitchen was off limits.
Get over here.
Angela learned from her father. That's the life she grew up with.
But why was Angela's torturous abuse directed at only one child?
And the answer is, we don't know. We can guess, we can blame it on past abuse of her own or whatever, but ultimately, this kind of evil is sort of a dark area. We really don't know what drove her to kill that little girl.
I like to think there's a special place in hell for Angela, but I don't think Satan wants her there.
A woman with a gentle touch.
They thought she literally was the angel of mercy.
Willing to help those in need.
People called her the Good Samaritan.
Can mask a deadly secret.
No one was safe when Bertha was around. No one.
Early in the 20th century, the tiny Catawissa community in Missouri relies on each other in tough times.
It would have been strictly a farming community with, 1 or 2 stores.
No one is more willing to lend a hand than new resident Bertha Gifford.
Mrs. Gifford established herself in the community as a person who would come to your house, knock on your door, and offer to help you care for someone who was sick.
Even though she had no medical education, only a 3rd grade education, in fact, she wore a white starched uniform and carried her little satchel of supplies and spent just as much time as it took taking care of them.
Despite Bertha's best efforts, not all her patients recover. Sometimes they die. But death doesn't dampen Bertha's spirits.
I saw this. He lost both his legs.
Oh dear, the poor soul.
She was fascinated with death more than she was fascinated with life.
They couldn't stop bleeding.
She loved to read the newspaper for stories about fatal accidents and murder.
His eyes completely bulged out.
And then she just wanted to talk about them all the time.
Better off dead, of course, without his legs.
Bertha's obsession with death is matched by her desire to be in control.
The best cook in all Missouri.
Especially when it comes to her husband, Eugene.
Thank you, Mother. She insisted on cooking.
We know that she was rather domineering.
How long was she staying?
We know that Eugene was definitely the weaker of the two, if you will, that she was in charge. What she said is what happened in her household.
You've done enough.
When Eugene's mother comes to stay, Bertha's position as head of the house is threatened.
She doesn't want me here.
Of course she does.
Within hours of arriving at Bertha's home, Emily takes a turn for the worse.
Her mother-in-law became ill that same night that she came to visit.
How is she?
Time will tell.
And so Bertha sat up with her.
Despite her nursing skills, Bertha can't help Emily. She dies a slow, agonizing death.
There was no autopsy. There was no examination.
A year later, bad luck strikes Eugene's family again. His young brother, James, suddenly falls ill.
There's no way to document whether these people became ill because they were consuming something in the Gifford household or if they had actually been sick before they came and they got sicker once they got there.
Bertha can't save 13-year-old James. Within 18 months, all of Eugene's closest family are dead. Is it despite or because of Bertha?
I think her fascination was not being fed regularly enough, and so she found a way to make it happen.
Very soon, Bertha will reveal how far her obsession will go. In the early 20th century, the small Missouri community of Catawissa calls Bertha Gifford the Angel of Mercy.
Bertha passed herself off as a nurse, a very caring person who was always there for the ill.
But they don't always recover.
How is she?
Her husband's mother and brother die on her watch.
These are two, literally, of the very closest blood relatives of her husband.
The family deaths don't arouse suspicion. Bertha continues caring for other relatives, including Eugene's baby cousin, 3-year-old Beulah Pounds.
The mother was trying to care for her daughter, but also had some other things that she needed to attend to out of town. Beulah was very afraid of Bertha Gifford and didn't want to stay there. But she was made to stay with Bertha.
When she arrives, Beulah is in perfect health.
What's wrong with her?
Hard to say.
But her mother returns to find her daughter crippled by cramps.
People trusted Bertha. They appreciated her willingness to care for their sick family members. Bertha would shoo him out of the sick room and say, "Go get some rest. I'll take care of this.
The next morning, April 18th, 1918, little Beulah is dead.
She wanted to be seen as a good person, an angel of goodness. But she also wanted to satisfy her lust for control over the lives of her patients.
Bertha's unfortunate body count extends beyond her husband's family.
Oh, Mary, Mary.
On May 16th, 1927, farmhand Ed Brindley, with a belly full of bootleg liquor, staggers into her caring clutches.
Jean ran out, came to his aid, and carried him into the house and put him to bed. Bertha, of course, was heaven sent to take care of Ed Brindley.
That night, he became violently ill, and the next morning, he was gone. They phoned Mrs. Brindley and said Ed died.
Ed Brindley is one death too many.
That was her big mistake. Ludelphia Brindley, his widow, said, "Enough."
And she insisted that the district attorney investigate. They exhumed the body of Ed Brindley. They found arsenic in his body.
Investigators keep digging. 2 more bodies are exhumed.
Each had enough arsenic in their system that would have killed 7 adults.
They soon discover 17 neighbors and family members have died from Bertha's healing potions.
If you were vulnerable and sick, you were fair game for Bertha and her bottle of arsenic.
Bertha had purchased arsenic on a regular basis. She would give as her reason for needing arsenic that there were many rats in her barn.
I think that's how Bertha saw her victims. They were rats. She needed to destroy them.
Prosecutors only need 1 murder conviction to hang Bertha Gifford. But in November 1928, the jury finds her not guilty on the grounds of insanity. She is confined to the Missouri State Hospital for the next 23 years.
That means that she didn't know what she was doing was wrong at the time that she did it. I completely disagree. People simply did not want to believe that a woman could be a serial killer with malice in her heart.
I bet he's met someone.
A possessive teenager.
She liked to pull the strings, she liked to be in control.
Oh no.
Hell-bent on revenge.
Sexual jealousy does seem to have played a large part in this.
Becomes a puppet master.
Good idea.
In the art of deadly persuasion.
She was a maestro.
Braintree, England, 2002. Shooting pool is a regular pastime for these teenagers. 17-year-old Nicole Hollinshead keeps a close eye on the ball and on her boyfriend.
Try me.
Stephen Wood is 3 years older than Nicole, but she wears the pants in this relationship.
She was very much the boss, and he was the weaker one, and she was in charge.
Nicole meets Stephen in a most unconventional way.
She'd had sex with Stephen's father, and then she had sex with Stephen, which is a very unusual thing to happen.
Stephen is now her possession.
I need a drink.
I think Nicole was jealous of anybody who dared to threaten her power, really.
Lesbian lovers, 17-year-old Carrie Bauer and 18-year-old Emma Last are in awe of their tough friend.
Tar. Slag.
They were kind of lost souls, looking for a role model, looking for direction.
They seem to have been drawn to her strength.
Want me to get a little girl to help?
He's trying.
He's hopeless.
One friend who wishes Nicole could be a little softer is 17-year-old Deborah Karn.
She wouldn't hurt anybody. I've never ever known her to upset any friends or anything like that.
Deborah's mom, Heather Knight, and her sister, Rebecca, saw how Nicole treated her boyfriend.
Stephen, in my opinion, was like a puppet on a string.
She was constantly nagging at him, and I felt a little bit sorry for him.
I think I did say to Deborah at one point, why do you like this girl?
The trio hang out together.
It'll be dark before we get there.
Come on, we'll have fun.
Soon, Stephen is drawn to Deborah's kind nature.
You fixed it!
I think Deborah represented to Stephen a sort of an escape from the life he'd been living with Nicole.
You've done it again!
I don't want to do this anymore. Enough, Nicole. I've had it. It's over.
Stephen finally finds the courage to end the volatile relationship.
Who is she? I'll find out!
Hi. Where's Nicole?
Free from Nicole's shackles, Stephen turns to Deborah for comfort.
Honey, what happened?
I bet he's met someone.
Oh.
I don't know. But I will.
Angry Nicole vents to her friends, Emma Last and Carrie Bauer.
Carrie Bauer came from a broken home. She was separated from her mother.
Wouldn't want to be her.
Emma was very much an outsider. It was fair to say she had demons that haunted her.
Nicole's rage is contagious.
Carrie and Emma were really two lit fuses waiting to get off. They were a fight looking to happen, and Nicole provided them with that outlet.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, Mum, can Steve stay tonight? He's got nowhere to go.
Well, all right, but out here.
Thanks, Mum.
Thanks.
Tonight, Stephen has a safe haven.
Their friendship had obviously become very close.
But the next day, I remember saying to Deborah, because I felt it was my duty to, did anything happen? And she said, no, it did not, Mum.
When Nicole finds out where her ex-boyfriend's been sleeping, it lights a jealous fuse.
Nicole's the kind of person who needs to be the only one in a man's life.
Oh no.
What's the matter?
It's Nicole. She thinks I slept with Steve.
When she found out Stephen spent the night with Deborah, it was a massive threat to her. And she was angry and jealous.
Nicole was bombarding Deborah with text messages of an abusive nature.
Oh, she's acting crazy. Give her a call.
She was quite confident that it would all be cleared up because she knew that she hadn't done anything anyway.
Nicole, what's wrong?
Sleep with Stephen.
Well, he came on to me, but nothing happened.
I do recall at some point Deborah and Nicole talking and trying to sort this mess out.
I reckon you're lying.
No, I'm not.
But Nicole has made up her mind.
You slag.
Deborah is guilty. And Stephen needs to be back where he belongs.
Unfortunately for him, it wasn't so easy for him to escape Nicole.
What Nicole wants, Nicole gets.
You know I love you, baby.
She wasn't content that she had her man back. She was obviously angry
You promised she didn't come on to it.
and remained unhappy.
What's wrong? Never happened.
Lying cow.
A teenager obsessed, Nicole turns to her loyal followers and her lover.
They were watching films, some of which were very violent.
That's what should happen to that bitch.
Good idea. Yeah.
And it was there that the seeds were sown. It was there that the plot was hatched to get revenge on Deborah.
You pick her up. Come, call her.
And we'll sort her out.
Stephen becomes the bait,
Oh, Deborah? Yes, Steve.
the trap for Deborah is set.
Look, I'd really like to get together with you.
I think Nicole targeted Deborah because she wanted her out of the picture, not Stephen out of the picture. Stephen was her patsy. She needed him.
Braintree, England, 2002. Nicole Hollinshead is in a jealous rage over her breakup with Stephen Wood. Their 17-year-old friend, Deborah Karn,
Oh, she's acting crazy.
is caught in the middle. Determined to make things right, Deborah agrees to meet Stephen.
It's bad news. I'm begging you, don't go.
Don't worry, Mum. I just want
And I said to Deborah, I don't really want you to go. She said, well, I need to, Mum, because we need to get this sorted.
Don't worry. I'll be back soon.
I said to her, I love you. She said, I love you too, Mum. And that was when she walked out the door.
The plot was hatched that Stephen would drive Emma and Kerry out and then bring Deborah out at a later stage under the pretext of spending time with her.
He could have stopped at any point, but his role in getting Deborah out of the house was pivotal to Deborah's demise.
July 28th, 2002. Trusting Deborah is driven to her last stop.
Emma Last and Kerry Bauer lay in wait for the ambush.
The only person missing is the puppet master herself.
Nicole was a maestro at getting her little band of misfits to play the music of murder.
Kerry and Emma have never met Deborah. They take Nicole's word that she deserves to be punished.
I've gone over and over in my head as to how she could have even comprehended this because she didn't know these people.
And Stephen was sitting in his car, watching. He just sat there.
They punched and kicked her, and they held her down and asphyxiated her.
I can't imagine the pain that she went through and how scared and how frightened she would have been.
The teens leave the worst to last.
Then Emma encourages Kerry to chuck petrol over her.
Get out of the way! All over! God, no! God!
She went, oh my God. She knew what the smell was.
It was Emma who then set light to Deborah.
To just do that to a little girl of only 17 is just so not right. They just took her away from me without a thought, out of care, nothing.
It doesn't take long for the police to identify the suspects.
The last person Deborah had been seen with was Stephen Wood. And he was spoken to, and then he obviously gave information as to who else had been involved, and the murder investigation grew from there.
Fortunately for society, these killers, not so bright, and they were caught very quickly.
In April 2004, Emma Last and Kerry Bauer are sentenced to life for Deborah's murder. Both will serve a minimum of 17 years behind bars. Stephen Wood is found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years in prison. The ringleader, Nicole Hollinshead, is acquitted of murder but found guilty of conspiracy to inflict grievous bodily harm. She is sentenced to 5 years and is now free.
I think Nicole and Stephen should have got the most. Because at the moment, them two are walking around, whether they're miserable or what, but they're alive and they're out in the world. And my Deborah's not.
Teenage relationships are frequently volatile, explosive, and roller coasters. That's part of growing up. But this one went way too far and ended in murder.
These deadly women were as cold as ice. Angela McNulty tortured to death her own daughter. Bertha Gifford decided who lived or died. And Emma Last and Carrie Bauer killed a stranger to help a friend. They all bear the stains of having malicious hearts.